We don't get to know about everything that goes on in our government. Some things are kept hidden or top secret, and evidence is often destroyed. But now and again, things get leaked. From destroyed footage of alien life during the first moon landing to an alien civilization on the dark side of the moon, here are 15 leaked photos NASA doesn't want you to see. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos every day. That being said, let's begin. Number 15. Alien City on the Dark Side of the Moon? Since 2009, NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO, has been exploring the lunar surface of the moon to find, basically, the best parking spaces for moon missions in the future. Sometimes LRO picks up a few extra little surprises as well, and an alien city on the dark side of the moon might be one of them. And no, this is not a new song by Pink Floyd. Scott C. Waring, a self-proclaimed UFO expert, believes he has sighted a few strange structures in images from NASA. Scott writes on an ET database about how the square-shaped rocks appear to have a lot of right angles. With sharp edges, they seem to be more like structures than random moon rocks. Scott says the objects had white roofs and an opening with what looked like ships hanging out of them. He believes the moon could have been home to an ancient city and that life might still exist on the moon. Scott takes these claims one step further. He said the alien structure, which is around 9 miles long on the De Moraes crater, disappears from any other photo. He claims that NASA has edited other photos since, including stitching composites together and placing fake craters over the top to hide the ancient city. His explanation for NASA doing so is that they don't want us to see many things, and it's all too easy to edit such revelations out of photos. Now it's time for the star topic. There are some pretty outrageous photos out there that NASA supposedly doesn't want you to see, but this one sent in to us could take the cake. NASA officials appear to be unloading or refueling what looks like an alien spacecraft. It's black, triangular, and has no discernible features such as an exhaust system or even a window for the pilots. We'll leave it up to you to decide whether this is a real leaked photo from NASA or if someone's playing tricks on us with a little friend called Photoshop. Comment down below with the hashtag StarTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on screen. With that said, let's keep things moving. Number 14. Hiding something on a Mars rocket. There's no denying that there's a significant rivalry between countries trying to get to Mars. Everyone wants to keep their technology secret, and no one is willing to risk letting the cat out of the bag. As it turns out, NASA likely has a few top secret things on their latest SLS spacecraft that they don't want people to see. Photos of the Space Launch System aircraft, which has been built to take astronauts to Mars for a test flight, were released to the public in 2019. It didn't take long for news website NASA Watch to pick up something odd. There was an entire portion of the rocket blurred out. What was underneath? According to NASA's Keith Cowling, all images of Space Launch System hardware are checked for sensitive data before they're released to the public. Both NASA and Boeing reps review them and will give the go-ahead to publish them, often with parts blurred out. People were quick to speculate on what NASA didn't want us to see. Some say there could be top secret technology under that blurred section that NASA doesn't want their rival nations to see. Others think military technology, or even the rocket's yet to be determined name, could be underneath. Whatever it is, we may just find out by the time those astronauts make it to Mars. Number 13. Secret Mars mission? It won't shock anyone to learn that government officials don't tell us everything. But what if we told you that they might have taken a secret mission to Mars? There is supposedly footage out there, leaked from NASA, that shows a crewed mission to Mars, albeit a blurry one, dating back to 1973. The crude in that sentence is C-R-E-W-E-D, not crude like vulgar. The footage has a label on it saying not for public distribution. Many people believe that there was once a secret space program known as Project Red Sun. Within this project, astronauts landed on Mars in the 1960s and 1970s. Alongside this claim, others believe that the Curiosity Mars rover is not alone on Mars either, as evidenced by its shiny and clean solar panels. Some people believe humans are already up there and maintain the rover to offer the illusion that it's doing all that work itself. There are even theories about a group of humans that relied on the assistance of an alien in the Roswell crash to get to the planet Serpo in the Zeta Reticuli solar system. Sounds likely. With all these potential missions we don't know about, it doesn't raise too many eyebrows to know that a secret Mars mission in the 1960s might have happened as well. Number 12. The red planet isn't really red? According to many thousands of people who have delved into the dark depths of Mars research, NASA is hiding something quite crucial from us: the actual color of Mars. Is it sky red or is it blue? It's like the dress saga all over again. Some people say that NASA has deliberately changed Mars, or the red planet, to Technicolor red in all its released photos. But using auto-level correction tools in Photoshop and other software, people were able to view it with a blue sky. That theory of a blue sky would fall in line with some of the first Viking images from 1976, where Mars was described as looking like Arizona. There was no mention of a red sky at all. Many naysayers are quick to point out that the white balance color correction doesn't prove anything and that it would make no sense for it to be blue. Others reference photos from the Mars Pathfinder, which shows that the atmosphere is thin, dusty, and red. NASA did explain a few things in any case. They said they expected the sky to be blue, but the dust means it could be almost any color. Pink, however, is the more commonly seen sky color in all imagery. No one can know for sure whether NASA is misusing color calibration techniques or something fishy is afoot, but there is a high possibility that, for some reason, NASA doesn't want us to know how habitable Mars really could be. Number 11. Apollo missions spotted UFOs. Some people believe NASA, which stands for National Aeronautics and Space Administration, actually stands for Never a Straight Answer. For if there's gonna be leaked photos that they don't want people to see, they're unlikely to address them or offer insight into what they could mean. Bob Dean is a retired Command Sergeant Major who devoted his retirement years to UFOs. On his website, there's a photo showing strange objects traveling alongside the spacecraft in the Apollo 14 mission. According to the site, the photo was taken during the Langberg Crater moon investigation. At the time, astronauts were taking photos of strange happenings in the crater, all before flashing lights started to pace them. That wasn't the first or last time evidence supposedly existed either. A NATO US Army officer blamed NASA for covering up proof of alien life on the Apollo 11 moon mission, and Bob Dean said 40 rolls of footage from the first crewed mission to the moon were destroyed. Is NASA trying to disprove or hide the existence of aliens in space? Number 10. Space Fireflies. In 1962, John Glenn became the first astronaut to orbit the Earth on the Mercury Atlas 6 mission aboard the Friendship 7 capsule. While he is well known for his achievement, he is equally as renowned for describing a strange alien-like phenomenon outside his capsule window. John reported back to NASA's Mission Control that he saw a mass of luminescent particles, like fireflies, below him. When he tapped on the window, they appeared to fly off. He said they were of a green and yellow color about the size of a real firefly and appeared while he was orbiting over Australia. Let's be honest, Australia has a lot of weird and wonderful creatures, so space fireflies wouldn't be out of the question. At first, NASA thought the firefly's description might relate to problems with the capsule's heat shield. Traveling at 17,000 miles with a malfunctioning heat shield would make John Glenn the first man to not only orbit in space, but die in space as well. As a result of their fears, they covered up information about John's discovery until they could be sure there weren't any problems with his capsule. When Scott Carpenter traveled into space on the Aurora 7 capsule a few months later, he discovered the same thing: firefly-like creatures lighting up around him. When he tapped the walls, they appeared to float away as well. But NASA used Scott's information to confirm what they had started to think. Those fireflies were just frozen urine and ice floating around the spaceship. That's a little bit grosser than space insects. Number 9. Music on the moon? There's a little bit of irony in Pink Floyd's use of the name Dark Side of the Moon. As it turns out, astronauts may have heard music while they were literally at the dark side of the moon. During the fourth crewed mission to the moon, Apollo 10 astronaut Eugene Cernan reported into NASA's mission control that he had heard music. He said, "You hear that?" And they did. Eugene said it sounded like a strange whistling sound, not all that dissimilar to outer space type music. Reminds me of that game from last year, Outer Wilds. There are people all over the solar system playing space music. NASA never offered an explanation as to what it could be, but then it happened again on the following mission, Apollo 11. Astronaut Michael Collins heard the same thing, and outlined as much in his 1974 book, Carrying the Fire. However, by this time, NASA supposedly had an answer. They believed the whistling music was interference between the VHS radios of the command module. The sound was featured on the 2016 Science Channel show called NASA's Unexplained Files. The NASA History Office said the audio transcripts were never classified or withheld from the public. However, they said they had no way of getting them to the public before the internet. Number 8. Orbs fly past Space Shuttle Atlantis. Space junk, camera lens reflections, or something of alien origin? You be the judge. In 2006, astronauts were on board the Space Shuttle Atlantis during its final mission. They noticed floating orbs outside of their window and reported to ground control what they were seeing. Ground control said they were reflections from the camera lens, but the astronauts who were up close and personal with them were not so sure. They said they moved around the nose of the orbiter up to 100 feet away and hovered in a triangle formation nearby. Some also seemed to disappear and reappear. The footage has been studied at length, and YouTube commenters believe the orbs are more likely to be space junk than anything else. However, to this day, the astronauts aboard that space shuttle are not sure that's entirely true. Number 7. NASA photoshopped image of Saturn's moon. There's no question, conspiracy theory, or vague truths about it. NASA really did Photoshop Saturn's moons. But it's up to you to decide whether those edits were entirely innocent or if NASA was covering something up. NASA uploaded pictures of Saturn's moons, Dione and Titan, to their Picture of the Day website. The photos were taken by NASA's orbiter known as Cassini. Most people are reasonably internet savvy these days, so it didn't take long for people to notice and state that the photos of the moons had been edited. A user by the name of Dominator PS3 turned up the photo brightness levels to reveal brushstrokes to cover a rainbow aura. Something else is clearly behind the smaller moon, Dione, as well. The user said the photo editing was clear proof of yet another NASA and government cover-up. But an answer came right from the horse's mouth. Emily Lakdawala said she was responsible for the photo touch-up, but not to deceive anyone. She said Cassini, the orbiter, takes 3 sequential photos in red, green, and blue filters. By the time the second and third photos are taken, the moon has moved. Emily stated that if she did a color composite, Titan would be corrected, but Dione wouldn't, and vice versa. She aligned Dione, cut out the moon, then aligned Titan. She then had to fill in the shadow's missing pieces where there had been 2 or 3 movements. Most people were convinced with her explanation, but others believe it's easy to offer up an answer that isn't true. Number 6. Metal object on Mars? Every time photos from Mars are released, people are always looking for little green men or at least some signs of life. While there are no Martians in this photo, there are what seems to be metal fragments in bedrock, and that's enough for people to speculate that alien life could exist on Mars after all. The Mars rover Curiosity took photos from its mast cam that showed metal sticking out of a rock. Imaging specialist Elisabetta Benora from Italy found the images in a set from January 2019 and got to work trying to gauge the size of the item and what it could be. Elisabetta said the object reflects sunlight and casts a shadow, but the undetermined distance from it to the rover makes sizing it challenging. She did believe though that it was around an inch long and is around 30 feet from the rover. The shininess of the object offers reasonable proof that it's metallic in nature, but what it could be still remains to be seen. Is it a NASA cover-up, or is it merely a form of mineral or metal fragment from a meteorite that hasn't had a chance to erode yet? We may never know. Number 5. Alien base on Venus. Most people probably can't wait until the day NASA comes out and says, "We admit it, there's life out there beyond Earth." However, it's not looking likely, so we have to speculate until then. And speculate people do. For ufologist Scott Waring is adamant that NASA is hiding the existence of life on Venus from us. He said as much in a post where he showed a strange structure-like object in photos published of the planet. Scott found the photo taken by NASA on Wikipedia. Within it, he says, is a structure or base that could easily be the size of Texas. It shows one large building, a landing strip, and smaller buildings nearby. Given the shiny, reflective base, Scott believes a life form has managed to combat the hellish conditions of Venus and live there quite comfortably. Believe it or not, it's not out of the question to assume life did or does live on Venus. It's thought that around 700 million years ago, temperatures used to fluctuate at approximately 20 to 50 degrees, which is more than satisfactory for the planet to have water. And in most cases, where there's water, there's life. As the sun aged, the temperature of the planet increased until it's believed that nothing can inhabit it. Or can they? This photo, potentially leaked from NASA, might just be the proof we've been seeking. Number 4. Bones on Mars. For every one person who believes there's nothing on Mars but red dust and a rover, there's another person who believes there's life out there. And they're tired of leaked photos showing up from NASA with no explanation but possible proof that they're right. Could there be bones on Mars? Alien hunters had been looking through images in the public domain from the Mars rover Curiosity, which has been on Mars since 2009. In 2 of the photos, they found what looks like a hip bone and thigh bones, as well as lichen and fungi. The alien hunters' findings were compiled into a video by the Martian Archaeology Group, sparking heated debates online about what those items could be. Many people were convinced and thought they looked far too different from the rocks surrounding them to be anything other than bones. The find by Curiosity is not the first to cause heated debate. Strange rock formations that appear to be purposefully placed in a circle have shown up in photos on Mars as well. Number 3. What is the secret space plane doing? The United States Air Force's X-37B mini shuttle is a strange little contraption. They won't tell us what it's for, but they're more than happy to show us what it is, what it looks like, and how it operates. So this space shuttle might be shrouded in secrecy for its use, but they're not trying to hide from us that it exists. The mini shuttle has been on 3 completed flights and was launched for a 4th time in May 2019. There have been photos of it on an Atlas V rocket at Cape Canaveral in Florida, and even on the runway of Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, where it can land autonomously. We even know its specifications. It's 29 feet long, has a small cargo bay, and its engine runs on nitrogen tetroxide and hydrazine. It also has a different form of thermal protection from NASA's space shuttles. We even know how long it's been in space. But that's about it. We aren't allowed to know its orbital parameters, even though amateur astronomers have a fair idea, or, more importantly, what it's for. Many speculate that it might have some military applications, such as for surveillance, navigation, communication, and satellite operations. There may also be technology aboard that's being tested for future applications, but we can only guess, for that is, once again, something that NASA doesn't want us to see. Number 2. A second sun cover-up? Whenever a respected astronomer says something completely outlandish, ears perk up. After all, they are experts in their field and know what they're talking about. So when astronomer Paul Cox made some unusual statements during a Mercury live broadcast, people listened. As Mercury made its way over the surface of the sun, Paul said there was a second sun out there that NASA usually hides. He said, "What is that large round thing to the right of the sun?" Well, that is our second sun. Paul went on to say that it's generally hidden from view as NASA and other organizations usually hide that stuff away and don't tell the truth. Paul was most likely referencing the alleged new planet called Nibiru or Planet X. It's around 9 times the size of Earth and hangs out in the background of the solar system. Given its vast orbit, some people believe its gravitational pull when it nears Earth could have some catastrophic consequences, such as earthquakes. Number 1. The Black Knight Satellite. Here's a crazy thought. Imagine watching TV when the TV hasn't been invented yet. That's basically what the Black Knight satellite represents. There's a thing in the sky that is thought to have existed for around 13,000 years. It's apparently a type of satellite that beams signals to Earth and has been inspected by astronauts from NASA. Nikola Tesla, who lived from 1856 until 1943, intercepted its signals in 1899. But, plot twist, we have only had the technology to send anything into space in the last 6 decades or so. What is this satellite, and where could it have come from? How did it send signals to Earth when the technology didn't exist yet? Both Russia and the United States, who are always in a space race, denied having ownership of it. Throughout the decades from the initial discovery by Nikola Tesla, the unique signals were being detected by amateur radio operators. 2 strangely timed messages were picked up in the 1920s, then revisited in the 1970s. By plotting the delay of the 2 signals against the order of the echoes, a Scotsman by the name of Duncan Lunan was able to determine that they could form a diagram and star chart of sorts. While Duncan was not an expert astronomer, he did come to the conclusion that the signals were coming from a probe on the star called Epsilon Bootes, which has been near the moon for over 13,000 years. There will be people who believe that alien life exists, and there will be people who don't. But it can be hard to deny that something fishy's going on, and these leaked photos from NASA might prove it. Do you think NASA is hiding something from us? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.